How are you today? I am JB Bryan of JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm, and it is time for AfroEconomics Live. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your Wednesday afternoon. It is July 8th, 2025. For those of you who are going to watch the recording, it was live at 12 noon on July 8th. Hey, cookie back at you. I'm a chocolate chip. What kind of cookie are you, Miss Wilkerson? You so sweet. Sweetheart. That's so sweet. You made my day. I don't think anybody in my whole life called me a cookie. But that don't mean I'm not sweet, huh? I have now been called a cookie. Yes, indeed. And you all saw it. Thank you. Thank you. This is about gender equality, promotion equality, things that I had not noticed, did not know about. No, and there's a lot of information on this. The bottom line is these are things that impact us financially. No, career choices, where you decide to spend your career, how long you decide to stay at that job. No, what are the choices? I would love to see women come in that feel good about talking about this topic. Have like some really interesting. I want to share. I think we should share some stuff. Like I want to share some discussions about this from over the years. What's going on, Stone Mountain, Georgia? I'm going to send the link. If any of you women want to show that women, let me see how I'm going to invite you. I'm going to send you this link to the women that will show that they can participate and they feel comfortable saying something, getting online. I would say that I feel, not to stereotype, but I think that this particular discussion, I get to stereotype as much as I want, that men tend to be more confident, especially about going on, oh, you're a cinnamon cookie. I know that's right. The men tend to be more confident about coming on camera and sharing their viewpoint. No, they're not. And it might be why men are more likely to get promoted. And we can't get mad at me about that. But like, say you're in a business meeting and they want to know the person's opinion, and the only people that speak up are the men that have a particular opinion about what to do to take the business forward, things like that. And, you're talking about a promotion, you're talking about leading other people, you're talking about the future of a whole bunch of people are depending on you. And you're afraid to say your opinion. That could become a problem, and it can hold the person back from getting a promotion. And when they look at the gender gap, like all of the promotion gap data came out of gender wage gap data. And the data said that men make more money than women. They didn't compare it from job to job, which I think is ridiculously ignorant. Like, if more men have management jobs or more CEOs are men, then you're going to have a wage gap. Look, if a man worked for me, then they did a survey, then they would say, oh my goodness, there's a huge wage gap between men and women. Men make less, so it's like you have to be very conscious of the sample group of what they're basing it on and what they're trying to, like, who did they survey? What did they survey? And historically, I just want you to show like we have to think about this, and I'm gonna put this question out there. Historically, what type of jobs are women choosing? You know, we're gonna look at this one first. It's a panel. And see, Mr. Barden has absolutely no problem being in the studio. And I have all you women sitting out there, even you, Cinnamon Cookie, Miss Wilkerson, who should be coming in here to talk with Mr. Wilkerson about this topic of equality and promotion for women. So let's do this. I'm going to share this. What was this one? Great. It's a few steps. We got this. Okay. I'm going to go back to it, and then I get to hit play.
Persistent concerns about gender inequality in the workplace. The 2016 Women in the Workplace report out yesterday says women are 30% less likely to be promoted to manager. Joining us right now are two women whose companies partnered in the study, Lean In President Rachel Thomas and McKinsey Senior Partner Lorena Yee. Good to see you, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us. So tell us about the report and why women seem to be falling a step behind.
The biggest finding is at that critical promotion from entry level to manager, men are far more likely to get promoted, and so they're far more likely to get on the path to leadership. The other thing we found is women are asking for more. They're lobbying for promotions, they're negotiating for higher pay, but they face pushback when they do. We know that women who ask for more are more likely to be called aggressive, out for themselves, intimidating, and that matters.
That's still the case? I mean, I knew that this was the case like 20 years ago, but still people are saying you're aggressive if you ask for a promotion. I just can't believe it.
Unfortunately, it's true.
Yeah. But women shouldn't be deterred from actually asking for that promotion or for that raise because they want to be in these positions and get promoted, and they could be overpassed if they don't ask for it, right?
So here's the good news. We know that women who ask for more are more likely to get it than women who don't, and that just makes sense. Right? If you don't ask.
Now I'm gonna stop right there. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Did you hear what she said, Mr. Barden?
Yep.
Women that ask for more are more likely to get it. Ladies.
Yep.
Ladies. Our freedom is right behind that. No, Mr. Barden will, I'm sure, tell you. Did you ever hesitate to say, I want to move forward, Mr. Barden?
Never.
But a lot of times I hear women say, I don't want to be the supervisor. And I put a Bible verse up out of Matthew this morning on Facebook about like what we speak. Because if we speak that we don't want that responsibility, we don't want that problem, we don't want to worry about that, they're not going to move you forward. They're not going to try to make you make more money. It's not going to happen. So that's interesting that we don't, realize that a lot of what we're going through. Oh my goodness, you look great today. Where are you?
I'm in a secret location.
Oh, I see it. It's a great big building behind you. I see it. I see you.
I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, Miss Davis. I know Miss Davis has a lot to say today. You look like a supermodel for real. I love it. You're in the ATL.
Hot Atlanta, and it's hot too.
Right? I bet. But that's so great.
I'm promoting my company.
Are you serious?
I'm promoting my company at a conference here.
Your education, consulting, and helping us.
I'm promoting that down here. Yeah.
And I think it's more important than ever with these changes with the administration. And I hope that you'll bring that out, that like the current administration is reducing the amount of debt that people can take on. So it becomes more and more important for them to plan their education with a planner like you and find additional sources of funding, because they are not going to allow people, unless they want to do those Parent Plus loans, they're not going to allow these kids to ruin their credit. They're not. And we have we definitely, and then, think about that also, then you're going into the workplace they have to have a certain job, a certain level of job, ladies, to pay the debt that you've gone in. Oh, that's right. Miss Davis is in Atlanta too. She said best wishes to you. That's right. Yeah, come on in here. You're retired now. You have no excuse. We have to give back. We all have to give back. Just like Mr. Bard and just like me, we're giving back. Someone is listening to this, and I hope that they're realizing that a lot of where we go, where we get in life. Here, thank you, Mr. Bard. How we move forward in life is based on the choices that we make. The choices that we make. I'm gonna share another interview, and I hope y'all heard that interview. You know, a segment of it. I just want us to get little segments, like all these things, like over these decades, that these things have been happening. So we're going to I'm going to share another one. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
The economics research started by showing that there's a gender wage gap, which is that women earn significantly less than men. This wage gap exists even if we look in the same firm. And then follow-on research showed that most of the gender wage gap can be explained by different titles or positions that the women hold. So women have lower and lower representation as we climb the corporate ladder.
Let's listen to what she said again. This is the researcher from Yale who's updated their information now. And the numbers are better than the older numbers. Those numbers were like 80 out of 130. Now it's like, the women, 80 out of 100 women are promoted.
Even if we look in the same firm. And then follow-on research showed that most of the gender wage gap can be explained by different titles or positions that the women hold. So
different titles or positions that the women hold.
Women have lower and lower representation as we climb the corporate ladder. So ultimately,
saying there's less and less women at the top. There may be 3 or 4 of us down on the bottom, but as we get up to CEO, there's less and less up there. I think the good job. I think Ms. Wilkerson was saying, that she went up to GS12, but it wasn't easy, but you had to be willing to do it. I don't know what that means. Mr. Barton might know. You should come in and tell us. Like, Mr. Barton, do you know what GS12 means?
Yeah, that's the GS is that's the grade, the government grade that you're at. And as an employee, 12 is a very significant. You're hitting at the low level about 85,000 and up to about 100. I think it's 110, maybe 120.
That's
and
right.
Then if you live in an area like DC or New York or San Francisco, then you get another bump of about, I think it's about 15%.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the government depends on if you're in Atlanta or if you're in
yes,
somewhere else.
exactly.
I wonder if Stone Mountain gets paid less than someone living in Atlanta proper. Probably not, I guess.
Well, it depends on where the office is.
Oh,
if the office is in Atlanta, then yes. But if it's in some rural area, then no.
Okay.
So it depends on your office location.
Okay. That's great. And they have more and more in rural areas now.
Yes.
They do. But one thing that I think is really interesting that we should think about is, are we at a time where women did not want to come back into the office? Because if the men were more willing to come back into the office, and I'm sure they were, and the women were griping about, I also want to work from home. I got to keep my grandkids. I got so and so and so. Then the man is going to get promoted. Even if you don't see it happen, you're going to lose sight. Next thing you know, he's going to be your supervisor because he didn't fight it. And you can't blame it on Trump. at some point, we were going to all have to go back to work. It was going to have to happen. Like, so if the employer says, what I have found to be so frightening in my attempt to build us is that people do not want to hear the truth. You don't want to hear that people sacrifice their whole life to get ahead. You don't want to hear that some of these men literally kill themselves in their attempt to get to CEO, to get ahead. They just go through 3 or 4 divorces, do things that the women, most likely are not willing to do. Does that make it wrong? No, because the business, and you can see there's a sequence of things in which they base your promotion on. And one of the criteria in the algorithm basically comes out to, will they kill themselves for this company? That's basically, if we put it in like regular language, they're not gonna have it. It might say, will they work late? Are they willing to do overtime? Are they there before? You know what I mean? Do they leave after everyone else leaves? See, your supervisor's looking at this. Do they come in early? Do they stay late? Like, so you're sacrificing a lot in that space. You're not home for dinner. You left before the kids got up. You're in there first. So it's like, I don't know how they can factor in there as far as, this 80, that 13, a woman is 13% less likely than a man. But as long as we have the stereotype that a woman is going to take care of her family, and a lot of us are single parents, I had to sacrifice, even owning my own business, I had to sacrifice millions when my husband left me. So you realize that you're going, that a person that want, and then I had to sacrifice to keep it together. And then you're sacrificing just to keep it. Again, so much. It's just, you can't even measure the amount. And the reason that there's only one of me is because of that. And somewhere in there, by the grace of God, he woke me up and said, you're going to die if you don't change this. You've got to figure out how to take care of your health. And I have to fight to keep it. I literally have to fight to take care of my health, because there is always something to do. And now corporate America and the government is basically run like an enterprise. They want you to see yourself as an owner, don't they? Like, they want you to take ownership. When Mr. Barnum was doing educational things for the federal system, they would get him where he was supposed to be on Sunday. So that's why he doesn't mind doing it now with his own name.
That's right.
Tell your wife, I'm sorry, baby, but I gotta go because I gotta be in Tennessee on Monday. And so that means I gotta fly out on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And that me on salary. We'll give you some comp time. And if you get sick, well, you can you get that day back or something. I don't know. But if you want to get, but what if you're the person that says, oh, I can't leave my family? I wouldn't do that. I'm a single parent. I'm so, I don't have anybody else to cover that. I had a speaking engagement after my husband left. My daughter was 4 weeks old, remember? And I had to speak at the Census Bureau. I brought my child because I didn't have a nanny. I couldn't find a nanny. I didn't have any help. I brought my baby, newborn, to my client in Maryland and gave her the baby, and then went to do my workshop for another client that worked at the Census Bureau. Well, all of that on my head, I still had to present.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people would say, I gotta cancel this thing. My husband on left, and I got this new little baby, and we got, you know what I'm saying? I don't remember ever canceling anything. Most people don't. Most women, I'm just gonna say women, y'all, I'm just saying, I have never met another woman in my whole life that had their baby on Friday and was working on Monday. That was me. I was baby 11:30 p.m. on Friday. I was doing the Joe Madison morning show on Monday.
Wow.
Worked all day in labor, did natural childbirth. I'm telling you, y'all, they're asking you. This business demanded that of me. And I still lost clients. Not clients, but I remember one lady, she said, well, I know that I retired and I didn't talk to you about it because, pretty much I just didn't think you were going to make it. Oh, wow. She thought I couldn't do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if we're looking for the outside looking in, I guess too. Like, she's probably saying, I am not going to give my life savings to this lady that should be falling apart right about now. Get through it. We get through it. No maternity leave when you have your own business. People get mad at their jobs because you all don't have enough maternity leave. Isn't that something? But I totally tell my daughter that I don't want her to be like me unless she chooses to. I raised her for that to be her plight. Everything I've done is for her not, to have to do that. She won't have to. She won't have to start a business, even if she decides to work for me. She won't have to start a business. She's a different person. And as the interviewer said, that when a woman is very aggressive in the workplace, that works against her. And then the man tried to save it. I don't know if y'all started to look back, if you're just coming in. And the man tried to save the discussion. He said, well, she shouldn't let that stop her from being aggressive. It's true. But I'm not single by accident. I'm very aggressive and I don't even know it. It becomes part of your nature. I am not going to allow anybody to do anything that's going to hurt themselves. I just don't know how to assume that position. So I'm going to say something, and I manage everything that way because that's all I've ever done. So, you have to realize that there's going to be places of appreciation. My clients, they love having a financial advisor that's a beast like that. They benefit from that. Well, you have to realize that when you want to move forward in corporate America as an entrepreneur, things like that, you're going to have to go into a beast mode of looking out for the better interests of everyone else. What I had to learn to do was to take that desire to help and put it into my business. Mm-hmm. And I said, this is where I can help. This is where I can help. So that I wasn't, it just that help that would just take it on another. We can have a whole another discussion about that. But I'm telling you, if you are that is a difference. So I don't feel that we should buy into that there's this promotion gap and they're not giving women raises, because according to their research, and you can look it up, done by Yale, the research says that women are are harder on each other than the men are. Basically, Mr. Barton is more likely to give me a promotion than the women bosses would be. Because he'll say, Lord, the girl had a baby, came to work the next day. She was doing it up. The woman will be like, she's stupid. That was dumb. She had to do all that. Y'all know we're hard on each other like that. Even my mother was like, I don't understand why you don't take that medicine. You look crazy. What's wrong with her? Take that drug, girl. I want to convince myself that my daughter is so healthy because I didn't take it. Just let me have that. Let's let me have that. Thank God she's healthy. Would you say, Miss Hamilton, in Florida, I'm very independent and aggressive. And yes, it sometimes works against you in the workplace. Yes, indeed. That's why you have track and field. Yeah, look, it said until a project needs to be completed, then I'm the go-to. Yeah, you are, girl. I'm gonna tell you, Mr. Barden. I ain't even gonna talk about Miss Hamilton coming out there acting like she ain't know what she's doing, tearing the field up. You know that type. I told her, I looked her in the face and I said, I don't know about you, Tom, trying to tell me you don't know what you doing. I'm gonna get you now, Miss Hamilton. She said, oh, I don't know. She's innocent, sweet. Innocent is sweet. She up there, turning, twisting around and everything. Keep an eye on you, Miss Hamilton. I ain't even gonna sign up for nothing until I check, make sure you ain't in it.
See, that's called under promise and over deliver.
Yeah, she's smart like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm up there flexing. I'm ready. Ready. No, I didn't. But I literally am new. like never played a sport, new.
Right.
Sat at her desk for 30 plus years, new. Miss Hamilton doing things. Teaching people, training people. She doing things. She got her own track club. She doing that thing. She just back in competition, and you doing it well, sis. You doing it well. I'm not mad at you, but a lot of women get mad at women. Like you said, when we have to stop that behavior because she inspired me to be better.
Mm-hmm.
I went to practice yesterday morning. It was hot. No, thank you. Literally, we have to inspire each other.
Yeah, good point.
We have to inspire each other. Yes. But what's your favorite? Her favorite event. See, my favorite, and I can tell y'all, and I haven't told Mr. Barden, I haven't told any of you all. But with my super weight throw for this day, and it may not be tomorrow, I am #1 in the USA for my super weight throw. And that's something from my age group. Exactly. I'm glad Miss Hamilton ain't do it. I ain't give her no ideas. Stay away from my super weight throw. But she's in Florida, and she also can practice more if she takes advantage of that time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people in Florida, like they were at Worlds. The women were beating the USA so bad when we went to Worlds, and they were like, well, those European women, they don't work as long as we do. And they they already retired at our age. We're giving them every excuse in the world. The men ain't thinking that. The men don't care. All they're thinking is they practice more. They sacrifice more. You know what I'm saying? Literally. She's practiced more. She sacrificed more. Miss Hamilton, you did it. We have to get that way in our corporate experience so that we can push each other to go. Like she said, when they want to get something done, who do they go? They go to Bernita because they know she got that sports drive in her. She got it in her. That pays off for us, our health and everything. It really does. But we should not feel that every time these numbers come out and they say, women don't make as much as men, or women don't make it, aren't being promoted as much as men. Don't believe the hype. Also, those numbers are for every community. If we break it out to the Black community, just the Black community, it might not read like that. It might be that a Black woman is more likely to get promoted than a Black man in a corporate environment. Mr. Barden might say, yeah, I think that might be true. What do you think, Mr. Barden?
I think it depends on the industry.
Good point.
I really do. I think it depends on the industry. And I think also it depends on how women approach, their career. Whoa. And so I think those are the two things I think that are vital.
That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Like my financial services is dominated with men. Mm-hmm. It's rare to meet a woman that's been in this business doing it as long as I have, and have her own firm. It's rare. So why, I don't expect, so I wouldn't be insulted if the men were making more money. You know what I'm saying? Like that that doesn't mean I'm not doing extremely well and better than a lot of men. You know what I'm saying? It's just that you're, like you said, it really, we cannot compare apples to oranges like they do with wages. They'll say, and women are much less likely to be in any type of sales job. So if you're in a sales job in a corporate environment, like what I would be considered, you know what I'm saying, then you're going to make more money. Generally. There's the losers, you know what I'm saying? But generally, the sales are going to make more money. They're pulling the company. They're pushing it. You know what I mean? They're the ones that are doing everything to bring in everybody else. Unfortunately, but that's the way it is. They're considered support. So the support is not making as much as those on the front line.
That's true.
And then a lot of times, so people decide to have a support job because you don't want the ups and downs of the sales job, but you want to have the same consistent pay. You want to have the maternity leave. You want to have the, freedom. You want to have the vacation without any calls and all this, well, then this is what you get. And that's the hardest thing, I think, for people to accept, that they'll say, teachers don't make any pay. Teachers don't make no money. Well, y'all, come on. You get the whole summer off. You get paid all summer. I know it's not enough, and you're going to sit there and say, oh, JB, but it's not enough. I know it's not enough, but that's what teachers get paid. And I got some clients that are teachers that are making $100,000 now.
That's true.
So you get, all you got to do is go back, you get your master's, they'll pay for you to get it. You get your master's, you come back, you're making more money. If you don't want to go into administration and work all year long, then you're not going to get into the 200, the 300,000, and then you got to go to be the superintendent. Everybody going to talk about you. Everything you did is wrong. Isn't it true? Like if you don't want to be totally disrespected and them talk about your bankruptcy. It was somebody was running, or a lady was running for city council, and she had filed bankruptcy 3-4 times. I'm like, why would you run for something like that? You must not care. You cannot care. You cannot care. You just can't. You're going to do public office. You're going to be a superintendent. You're going to be the big boss. You want to run for president. You got to be the type of person who just does not care what people think. Because those who like you are going to like you, and those who don't. But a lot of people don't like to take insults. And if you're someone's boss, the first person I had to fire was a family member. I think, that was so hard. That was so hard. But if I had not done that, the total trajectory, you wouldn't know me today. Let's just say, I'm just telling you. If you have the motivation to hire, you have to have the wisdom to be able to fire. Period. Because if you're got somebody, it doesn't matter who they are, if people, your clients, your other employees, everybody, if they can't see that they got to respect you, they don't have to like you, but they have to respect you when you are what you say you are, right, Mr. Jefferson? And you stand on it. What they say, 10 toes down on it. You know what I mean? That takes sacrifice. That takes sacrifice. When people are believing in you, you got to be able to stand up like, hey, that ain't how we do it here. You got to go. I remember this one girl, she got smart with one of my clients. I said, don't worry about it. She won't be here. I let her go. You don't talk. That's not how we talk. That's not how we talk. Do you know how many Black businesses talk to people any kind of way? That's ridiculous. You want to talk, all my clients are going to be, if they're not a millionaire, they're going to be a millionaire. And we're going to treat them accordingly, even if they only have $1. They have to feel like they're in freaking Dubai, but not being beat. Look, but not being locked up for doing something. but they have to feel great service. Who is known for great service now, right? Because Dubai, like locking people up, but you cannot act up in Dubai.
Nope.
They're not playing. Look at Carnival Cruise. Did you see that? Mr. Bart, you didn't see it, did you?
No.
Oh, Carnival Cruise is saying that we're going on cruises, our people, and acting crazy. So now they're like not doing any hip hop music and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
As if hip hop makes people act ignorant. It doesn't. It does not. Y'all like, yes, it does. It does not. I love hip hop. I love hip hop. And it does not make me act ignorant. But I don't come into my neighborhood blasting it. You know what I'm saying? Like I wait till I get in the garage and I'm just joking. But you know what I mean? I do try to adjust. We do have to adjust. Everything has its place. But they're looking at everything that we do. And every time we do that, we're representing for everyone. And those are the type of things that impact our promotions, literally. They did, like they go, oh, you're gonna bring that. You're gonna bring that stuff. Like even it's just they develop, you know, people develop our own develop stereotypes of us. So you know that other people develop stereotypes of us. That's why I like for our politicians to be honest. I like for everyone that looks like us to carry themselves accordingly, because my actions impact your future. They really do.
Yes.
I want to be like that. Like Miss Hamilton said, if you want something completed, they'll come to you. You want to be that person, but by being that person, be in tune with how much are you willing to sacrifice. You know, we had a client in her 60s and she made almost $300,000. She decided last week she's fed up. Fed up. Is it really, you know, you gotta decide what is it worth to you. And I have just mad respect for her because she put her time in, thought it through, made a plan, you know, prayed about it, you know, and decided, like, you know, you gotta know when to hold them, and know when to fold them, and know when to walk away, and know when to run.
Right.
Sometimes it's just like, this is a burning building that you're in. You need to get out on top. You can always get something else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't wait until I'm gonna go crazy on these people, blah, 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 right? You know, she just said, hey, it's time to go. We don't know. But one thing for sure, research says by switching jobs, you're more likely to get promoted.
It's true.
So are you not switching jobs? Are you staying at the same job and you're overplaying your card? I saw a lot of people stay at jobs, women stay through jobs through COVID when men were switching jobs, getting promotions. You stayed through the job and thought that they would be loyal to you after COVID. It's not marriage. It's work. It's just a job. That's the way you're seen, especially if you're working from home. I believe statistically, you are more likely to get fired if you're working from home than if you're in their face. If they just have to send you an email saying your job is being cut out tomorrow, you know, I believe that you're putting yourself in a risky place. But if you're going in there, talking to your supervisor, being around them, exchanging energy, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. Correct, Mr. Barton? Like, it just does. Like, I just think that we're hiding and we're like just hiding out because you feel like I shouldn't have to go in. I shouldn't have to go in. But it doesn't matter. If you want that job, we have to do what that job requires.
Yeah, you have to understand the corporate culture. And I don't mean you sell yourself out.
That's
but
right.
by the same token, you have to understand the corporate culture in order to facilitate what you want. you know,
Yes.
and that's the key, is that what you want. And if you want to move, and then you see that that organization isn't, you know, really responding to your needs, as you said earlier, then it's time to say, you know, don't make it a threat. Just go
A-
ahead and other places, and then
Amen.
make your move, and just make your
Do it.
move.
Make
Then
a
do it.
plan.
Yeah, that,
Make
it
a
got
plan. That's right.
very strategic. You have to have a strategic plan. That's what I would tell anyone in their
Mm,
career, is that
mm,
you have to be strategic about your career. It shouldn't
mm,
be haphazard. You should say
mm.
you should have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. And if it's not with this organization, then it's with another organization or your own, doing
Amen.
your own thing.
Amen.
So yeah, so I think we have to be very intentional about
But
our,
even if you do your own, you gotta have that plan. Like you
you got
said,
to have a
you
plan.
gotta have that plan.
Yeah.
How am I gonna keep this thing going? How am I gonna pay my bills? You know, I want us to just look at these before y'all go. And I'm so proud of you, Mr. Barton, out there doing your thing. I the gender promotion gap fuels wealth inequality between men and women. The Yale professor says in this update, it's the newest. About 70% of the gender wealth gap is due to women occupying different positions compared to men. So why are we calling it a gender wealth gap? See how they play with us. We gotta have occupation compared to occupation in order to truly know if it's a real wealth gap. Female workers typically outperform their male counterparts. Men are most likely men are more likely to get promoted, the research says. Now, so are they outperforming at the same job? No, they're comparing what she does and how well they're doing at that job and what he does and how well he's doing at that job. So they're not even comparing in the same job. Tell you, numbers don't lie, but presentation of the numbers can be misleading. We'll put it like that. So the progress towards narrowing the gender pay gap has mostly stalled. And I think that's a lot of like not wanting to go back into the workplace, starting to not take our careers seriously. In part due to some of the research is called the gender promotion gap. They're saying that the gender promotion gap is leading to the gender pay gap, but we are doing different jobs. And what if a lot of women don't want to be on top? So if this is only relevant to the women who really want to be on top and they keep hitting the glass ceiling. But I'm gonna tell you, a lot of men have the same challenge. Men have the same challenge where they're, you know, as they get higher, it's harder for them to, and I'm talking about Black men, it's harder for them to continue to move up. Women are about 13% less likely to be promoted, according to that research. The imbalance is a major driver in the precedent income inequality between men and women. About 70% of the gender wage gap is due to women occupying different positions compared to men. I think that they should say 70% of the gender wage gap is due to women accepting lower paid positions. And we should do research on the desire. The desire, like if you're saying we're not getting promotions, but did we try? Then he's saying, but even when men and women occupy the same position, women are paid less, she added. So then I have to know, how long has she been at it? Has she worked that position as long as the men that they're comparing her to? And if that's true, the employer in the United States of America can be sued. You cannot just pay people in the United States of America that not an employer, you know what I mean, just less. They have to have some sort of proof that, okay, you're doing the same job, but you haven't been doing it as long. you can be a GS-12 doing this job, but you only did the GS-12 for 1 year versus another was a GS-12 for a couple years. Correct, Mr. Barton? Something
Yeah.
like that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be careful before we get depressed, like, they doing women, they just doing women all wrong. You know, we're fighters. We're fighters. Women earn just 84% to every dollar earned by men. But we're doing different jobs. Women are in corporate America have come a long way, but there are still barriers at the outset, largely due to systemic bias. The annual Women in the Workplace studies has found they remain less likely than men to be hired into entry-level roles, which leaves them underrepresented in the start.
I think part of that is due to, unfortunately, women who are childbearing. You know, that age group, because they recognize that at some point, you know, a younger female will bow out of the system for a while in order to have children. And so some corporations or managers are somewhat reluctant to promote, because when they need you, like you say, they may not all be built like you and have one and drop it on Friday and out on Monday.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and women can have complications as it relates to pregnancy. So yeah, so I think that's some of it, and that's like a bias, but it's a
reality.
It's right.
It's a reality that, you know, that especially if she's married and her husband can take care of the bills. You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, it was never her plan to be here forever to become CEO. That's her husband's plan in her mind, in their mind.
Right.
You're gonna take care of the kids and then you'll go back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could go back later after they get to high school, whatever. Like, that's what a lot of families do. You know, my mother worked until we got out of high school. Then she came home. Look, she was like, I ain't staying with them kids. I might as well get a job. But it's true. Staying with the children is hard work. It's harder than having a job.
It is.
And I don't think people give women credit for that. That is a hard job. Like, when I used to have a couple of full and part-time nannies, and because I work so much, and I used to say, like, this is the most important job at my firm. I had a nursery, I put it in the building and everything. You know what I'm saying? I was like, but your job is the most important job. If my daughter is fine, I'm fine. I can do my job. If she's not good, I can't be good. And that's the way men must feel. You know what I'm saying? When they know their children are home with their wife, like, you know what I'm saying? It brings tears to my eyes, like, really feeling about that. Like, how good that must feel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's woo. Or a woman who has a husband that is willing to stay and take care and raise the children. Like you said, it's all about having that plan.
Yes.
But statistically, I think, and just think these numbers are saying, you know, women are being treated unfairly at work overall. I don't think we should grab it. Even though that's what that headline wants, because they have to get people to read. I think that we need to focus on our personal career experience and make sure that you become confident about how you present yourself. And if there's anything that you want, even talk to me about it, and I can help you get it. I remember one young lady, I told her, I said, hey, you could be making a lot more money if you sign up for this membership and you dig in. I will make sure that your income doubles. I mean, I literally, I knew it. I have never said anything like that in my career, but with her, I said it, and then she quit. She got out. She stopped talking to me. But I knew if she wanted it, it would happen. Because it's a problem. It's frightening to me to see how many people are like that. Like, you're where you are, you're complaining but you're not taking the proper steps nor getting the help that you need. Even no matter how cheap it is, get the cheap help. Like, you know what I'm saying? To get where you want to go. Like a little teeny membership would have made thousands. And, you know, I put her in a position to have so much more money, and not to mention the child that was depending on her. Like, it's what we don't do impacts our whole legacy. Yes. The positive decisions, the confidence that we develop, the assertiveness that we become comfortable with. Like, there's no business out here, government or corporate, that does not want a person on our team that wants to do well for the company. When you and I mean, it is so hard to find people like that. We're surrounded by people who are just trying to figure out what they can get from it. But we want people who have new ideas, new ways of doing things. What have you thought about this? What do you think if we did that? Just to hear somebody say that. You know, when you go into work and you just go in there and you sit at your desk, you know what I mean? And meanwhile, they're over there in the coffee room and they're talking. You think they're just chatting, but no, they're coming in there with a chance next to the boss to talk about new ideas.
Exactly.
Yes. And we think, oh, we still data entry over there. You know what I'm saying? When he get up, you get up. When she get up, you get up. You go in there too. What they talking about? Just like they do to you. What they talking about? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we should do that. Or I don't like it. What about that? Get in there. Do it like you're doing a line dance. We get in there. Rubbing that foot and all that. Like, that's all. But get to work. I just want to get by. You got to go into work and perform like you're doing a line dance. We gonna be rich. All of us gonna be rich. This gonna do. We're gonna help all people. We're gonna help the whole world. Everything gonna be better. Even if you work at a paper shredding company, we gonna shred this paper to the paper is not. You don't even know it was paper. Shred. You can't even. God is good. Y'all be blessed. Let's talk about this more. I look forward to our members only meeting tomorrow. But, you know, we're going to end this wage gap with race and gender, you know, by our continued tribute to excellence.
Yes. You
may not think you're doing well, but you are doing very well. And thank you, Mr. Bryan. Good luck with everything today.
Thank you.
And thanks for inspiring us to let us know that our best day is down the road. That's right. There's so much more to accomplish, y'all.
Yes.
Be blessed. Be safe.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.